I was a first-time home buyer as well, so I knew the process then, but I needed to put in a lot of work into understanding the whole process from a real estate agent's perspective. Best advice is don't rush. Worst two times you could buy or sell a house is when you need to. Take your time, be prepared, make sure that you have as much information as possible. If you're thinking of buying a house in the future, start the conversation as early as possible. Even if you're thinking of selling a house, let's say 2, 3 years from now, start talking to people, start talking to professionals, agents, mortgage brokers, especially on the buying end, just so that you could understand what you're going to be able to do. You don't have to be buying a house next week to start your research. Real estate is a good opportunity to invest because once you figure out how it is a tool for investment and not just the property behind it, the sky is the limit.
Welcome to the show. Today I am talking to a friend who has been working in the real estate industry for 1 year, and now he's here to explain you how you can take the best advice ever. Welcome to the show, Nadir.
Thank you, Ismail. Thank you for having me.
Tell me, who are you?
So my name is Nader Omar. I have been a real estate agent from the end of 2024. In 2025 was my very first actual full year in real estate. It was a good year as a starting year. I did get award at the end, the executive award at Remax. And I try to help as much client buy or sell or invest in properties. And yeah, I got 2 boys. I love to do a lot of outdoor activity. My wife is a pharmacist here in Halifax. We're all about our community, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. And tell me, on this first year, what is the biggest challenge that you have faced on your profession, but especially on the lives of your clients?
So, in my very first year, the challenges I faced was there was so much I needed to learn, but at the same time, I wanted to help client buy and sell real estate. So, I'm kind of a trial by fire type of person, and I just started looking at whoever needed my help. The challenge I started facing was when I worked with first-time home buyer, let's say, I wanted to make sure that I was a lot more educated because I was a first-time home buyer as well. So I knew the process then, but I needed to put in a lot of work into understanding the whole process from a real estate agent's perspective. And then for clients last year, we were becoming into a balanced market than just like it was a buyer's market for the longest time right after COVID. So I did go into a couple of opportunities where we needed to we went into a bidding war, which was something very much happening until, it still happens today, but not as much as it was back in 21, 22, and 23. So trying to navigate my clients' emotions, first-time home buyer especially, because buying or selling a house is one of the most stressful things anybody will ever do. Part of a real estate agent's job is to manage those emotions. And when we had to go into a bidding war with a first-time home buyer, I tried just to explain to them everything and provide proper expectations. Like, I know someone, once they get really attached to a house, it could be very deflating, and setting those proper expectations help me and my client out. But also at the same time, I always say it's not you that's going to choose the house. It's always the house that chooses you. So if it wasn't meant to be, there's always going to be a next opportunity. So these are some of the things I face with, let's say, first-time home buyers. On seller's end, I always want to position ourselves when we're trying to list a house, is to list it at market value. I do a lot of preparation, making sure that I get my client to prep the house, but I also want to put in the value of the market at the time we're selling. A lot of the time, seller's client will try to think that they could get more based on their emotional attachment to the house, which is something very big. Like some people live their whole life in a house and now they need to sell it. And I want to get them the best value in the shortest amount of time. That's always been my thing. Like I want to sell your house fast, but at the best value I can. Again, once they request that it be listed, let's say at a higher range than what I had already figured out based on the education, the market stats, the analysis, I would set expectation. Like I don't mind doing it, especially if it's not a very big jump. But I set expectation like you should be comfortable for it sitting because the value is this. But at the end of the day, every listing I had last year, I was able to sell. All of my first-time home buyers were able to get their first home, and it was a good year. The last challenge was for me personally. I had to do two jobs, which is one of the most toughest thing I've had to do because each job is demanding and I always want to give it my best. But this year I'm only doing real estate, so I'm very happy to be focused on this career and moving forward and growing in it.
And I think that this is a very special moment to be in the real estate industry.
Yeah.
Because as you say, the market is getting balanced.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that some years ago,
Yeah.
the sellers used to have a lot of leverage, but now it's different, So you need to have the strategy and, as you said, the expectations. How do you deal with that?
I agree 100%. Again, being honest, setting expectation, and making sure that I have the data and the analysis from where I bring my point of view and my expertise, because this is also a really big part of our role is you have to be the subject matter expert in the conversation, and you have to be empathetic to their emotion, because this is one thing where we get attached to things. This is how we are designed as human beings, right? And being honest and getting the information for them and explaining to them in a simpler manner, I think that has always been the best approach.
And for someone who is looking to buy a house, what could be the best advice for you?
Best advice is don't rush. The worst two times you could buy or sell a house is when you need to. Take your time, be prepared, make sure that you have as much information as possible, and no matter who your real estate agent is, trust them, because we do put in a lot of time and effort into educating ourselves to make your process simpler.
That is very important because we used to think that if you want to have a house, you need to wait to be ready to buy a house.
Yeah.
But in that moment, you are rushing because you need to change your work.
Yeah.
You need to change your income. Probably you need to
Yeah.
start a business. I don't know. So, what is the best moment?
The best moment is if you're thinking of buying a house in the future, start the conversation as early as possible. Even if you're thinking of selling a house, let's say 2-3 years from now, start talking to people, start talking to professionals, agents, mortgage brokers, especially on the buying end, just so that you could understand what you're going to be able to do. You don't have to be buying a house next week to start your research. And those conversations actually will help you and your agent maybe build a stronger relationship. So when you're ready, once you're ready, you'd be able to buy it faster than just, I'm ready today, who should I start talking to? And everything will be rushed.
And I think that when you are buying a house, like only a house for you,
Yeah.
it could be easier. But I remember that we met in an event about investments.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, that is the best option to invest.
I love working with investors as well. And that's the thing, if you start a conversation early with me, let's say, I try to figure out if you're looking for your forever home, and by forever home, a lot of the time people will say it's our forever home, 5, 6 years, things change and they want something bigger. But you're not looking in investments where real estate is an investment. And then there's a lot of people that always think of real estate as an investment. And it is. You could always start small and build a portfolio. You just have to have a strategy and the right mindset. And I've been around a lot of investors, some of the best in Canada, not just Halifax. And there is ways where you could grow your investment with real estate. There's ways to grow investments with a lot of different other tools, but real estate could be a great tool for investment in the Canadian market.
And when you are looking for a specific kind of property, you need to talk in advance many years in order to build like your strategy, like find your ideal property and then wait for it in the market, right?
100%. And sometimes you don't have to wait for it in the market. You could try and start conversation and get it. And it all comes back to the relationship you have with people, because some opportunity, like in investments, there's a saying where they go, best deals are made and not found. Like, you finding an investment property is highly unlikely, but you making an investment property work based on conversation and based on education, based on also real research on like your market, the type of property, the different type of insurances, because there is the regular insurance that you'll get. You could start there, where if you're getting a house with, like, let's say a walkout basement that you would get help to rent out, it's still considered an investment. But then you could go into commercial insurance, which is a whole different beast. And that's the thing that I go back to, where when we build that relationship in the beginning, it will tell me a lot about, like, I want to make sure that if this is something you're going to do moving forward, I would love to be part of that and help you out. If you're trying to find a home and settle, this is also great. A lot of people have different type of investment that they don't want to use real estate as a tool for investment. And I also love helping those people, because that was me 10 years ago. I definitely had to change my mindset at one point, but there's nothing wrong with, like, I'm trying to find a home that I absolutely love, because I have different opportunities to invest somewhere else with different tools.
And why real estate is a good opportunity to invest?
So real estate is a good opportunity to invest because it is one of the things that, once you figure out how it is a tool for investment and not just the property behind it, the sky's the limit. Like, there's no ceiling for it. Like, a lot of time when you're investing with someone, let's say to open a restaurant, no matter how much you grow one restaurant, there will always be a limit. But with real estate, once you figure out how to start getting your money, making money in real estate, there is no end to it. And you have to find the right people that understand it, the right partners, the right environment and communities is also really important, because there's a lot of community that love investing in real estate, and you have to be part of that if this is something that you want to grow in the future.
I never think about that, about the limit.
Yeah.
You're totally right, especially for someone who, as most of people are always working in a job, making or building some wealth.
Yeah.
Using your time, change your time for money.
Yeah.
But when you have real estate investments, you are growing.
Yeah. So you could be one of three type of people. You could be an employee, even if you own your own job, which is you're trading your time for money. So I'm going to give you my time, you're going to give me money back, even if it's your own job, because if you're working in your own job. And then you have entrepreneurs. They do it differently. They trade their money for time. Like they'll pay for things and take their then and buy back their time. And then you got wealthy people. Their time is not on the table. Their time is nobody's business. And they trade money for money. Like they make their money, make them more money, and that's it.
That is something important. My brother was about to start a business with someone who wanted to make a partnership and start working together. And I told him, hey, listen, if you are going to look for a partner, you need to look for a partner who wants to invest his money
Yeah.
and not his time, because it becomes like a employment
Yeah.
relationship, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really true. And when you are immersed in that kind of communities, as you say, in the real estate market, I am pretty sure that it can give you a different perspective
Yeah.
for your clients. That is something that I can see different in you, because there are many other agents, you know, with different perspectives.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, you are thinking about money and about investments.
Yeah.
So that approach is different.
There's always three investments I think about whenever I'm doing anything. It's my time, my energy, and my money. Because some tasks don't take a lot of time, but they take a lot of energy, especially with different types of people. And the money for me is the money will come and go. Like
Yes.
you could make a lot of money, you could lose a lot of money, but you always make back money, right? Time goes one way. So for me, that's the most valuable asset I have is my time and my energy, because my energy will affect my time if not used properly, right? So you're absolutely correct. Like, and there's a lot of people that like to invest their money, but why would they invest their money with you unless they trust you and they fully support your vision and you're able to build that to them? Like you have, and it's going to come with a lot of conversation. They're going to have to see your value, your work ethics. There's always way to raise money for any opportunity you want to build. There's always people that want to help, especially here in Canada. Like I could talk about that because I've raised money here in Canada, and I feel like this is a place where if you have the right values, work ethics, vision, you'll be able to get the money to fund you
Yes.
probably anything you want.
Yes, I am pretty sure of that.
Yeah.
It's difficult at the beginning, but
Yeah.
once you follow the rules
Yeah.
and once you follow the system, it will become easy.
And the right people.
And the right people.
Yeah.
That's always amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. And tell me, please share with me an experience that you have or you had with a client,
Yeah.
something that changed their lives.
So I was helping. You're a lot of time you're gonna hear me say my clients, but most of them are really good friends of mine. Like it could have started that way, or they became really good friends of mine. So I was helping a really good friend buy their first home, and they were in a rush, and I tried my best not to get them to commit because they were in a rush. So we had a right strategy. We looked at multiple houses, and we found like, and we were happy because at one point I think they were so pressured because of the timing to put an offer on a house. I didn't feel that it was the best house for them, but it's not for me to say. I wanted them to come with that position. So I actually took them to see the house numbers of times. I definitely voiced what I personally think of it. But at the end of the day, I told them the decision has to be made from you. And actually, after a few times, they went to a different route. And the final house we saw was the one that they absolutely fell in love with. And I think for their situation was the best thing that they should have been in. And we were able to put an offer, get the house, go through everything in the time they needed the house to be in. So we got lucky, but I didn't want the timing to push them to making a decision that they would be stuck on for, I want to say, at least 5 years. Like, I don't think anybody that moves in a house, they would want to go anywhere within the first 5 years. So yeah, that was one of the experience I had with one of my clients that always resonates with me, because I know that a lot of the time, if someone is ready to buy a house, but they're not comfortable in it, it's going to come and affect me as well, right? They're going to say, oh, Nader didn't help me make the right decision. even though it's not my decision, it's their decision, but I want to make sure, because I understand my clients so well, is that they're doing the decision that would help them in the future and not just because they need to do it right now.
That's why it's important to meet with your agent
Yeah.
years before, because in that perspective, they can know you in a deep way, right?
100%.
And how do you manage the emotions? Because your client wanted to
You have to
have a
be
house.
able to listen a lot, which is not one of, like, I love to listen to my client, but I also love to talk a lot. So I'm trying to rewire my brain to start listening more than I talk. Um, and you have to be empathetic to any situation, even though some of the situation could not be affecting you, but your client is going to put food on your table. So if you're not empathetic to their situation, because let's say you're having different problems in your home, they'll feel it. Like, people feel other people's energy. I truly believe that, right? And once you're able to understand and be empathetic and try to always guide them with positivity and with best intent, it will always help them manage their own emotion. And then you could take some of the emotion off of them, because you're the subject matter expert and you live this through other clients. So I'll be like, hey, I don't want you, because once they come, let's say, with a worry, and I've seen it before, and it happened to me recently. I had two clients that had almost very similar problems, and I could see how the outcome came. So I was like, listen, I want you to stop worrying about this and leave that part to me, because I could take that on for you. And if I feel we're in a situation where you need to worry more, I'll let you know. And they trusted me, and we were able to, or what I said would happen exactly happen in that manner, especially when it comes to.
If you are finding this helpful, subscribe now to access our complete series of Canadian mortgages and master your home buying process.
Some of the bigger stress always happens from once we have an accepted offer to once our deal is all firm. And I don't know if you've heard of those terms or not, but once you put an offer in, a lot of the time you have conditions on. So once you meet the condition, that offer is really binding. And usually that is the most stressful period for everybody. And a lot of the time, some people get cold feet in that, and some people will get wanting to move things that's out of their hand. Like, the mortgage broker has to get their time to finish all the paperwork. The lawyers have to go over all the contract to make sure there's no mistakes. And we are the one that handles everything from around, like the mortgage broker, the lawyer, the inspection, which is also something that's really important. I would highly recommend anybody that's buying a house to go through an inspection, no matter what type of house it is, because I've seen so many things come up in inspection that we do not see with our own eyes, even as real estate agent. Like, we do have a lot of training to see the small minor things, but when it comes to, let's say, a foundation or a roof or an attic, the inspectors are the one that are able to give us the proper reports, so we could let the client know what they're going into in the future, right? And some clients will be like, yeah, we're comfortable to take that on. Some clients will be like, no, because we didn't know that. Let's see what we could do before we get into the house. So that period is usually the most stressful. And the more you get to live that period with clients, the more you get really good at the outcome of it, and to be able to help them manage their expectations on it.
Thank you so much,
Of
Nadir.
course.
It has been a pleasure to know more about you, and please tell me where can people reach out.
Yes, you can reach out to me at any Remax Nova office. Just ask for Nader Omar on Instagram, Nader Omar Realtor, Facebook, same, Nader Omar Realtor, or look at my Google business page at Nader Omar Remax Nova. And yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was fantastic. I love the setup, and I love how well done this podcast is. So looking forward to many more in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt.